Welcome to N5D Radio's Cosmic Awakening Show, where we are serving this galaxy and beyond. My name is Michelle Walling, and I'll be your host today. I'm with N5D.com, and our goal is to reach as many people as possible with a database of articles, videos, and radio shows that will help aid in happening on a very special Greg Prescott, who is our radio show host at N5D Radio that makes my show possible. Greg is also the webmaster for N5D.com, the world's hottest esoteric, metaphysical, and spiritual database on the internet. And I would like to remind you that you can follow N5D by subscribing at the top right-hand corner of the page on the website with your email, and you will get an email every time he updates a new article. And if you're not into getting those emails for every article that comes that he posts, then don't sign up for that. Just follow on Facebook, or just check on N5D every day, because there's several articles that are posted. So you'll find alternative news as well on N5D. You can get that through your email, like I suggested, or you can just go to the homepage and click Alternative News. Our sister site is bodymindssoulspirit.com, which Greg also updates every day with several new articles, and you can sign up for those notifications as well. You'll have to sign up for it separately, but anytime new articles are posted, they'll be dropped in your inbox. So I have some exciting news. I'm also creating a new website that will focus on the topic that everyone seems to be passionate about, right along with me, and it's called howtoexitthematrix.com. I'm almost finished configuring it. If you went to it right now, you'll just see a welcome sign, and there's one article there by Cameron Day, Why I'm No Longer a Light Worker, which is pretty much one of the turning points in my life, figuring out that the dark beings are, well, we call them dark. Let's just call them negative. The negative beings are posing as false light to a lot of people on the planet right now, to try to confuse them and to try to basically keep people locked in to be, energy slaves. And so what we like to do is we like to tell you not so much the darkness of it, but once you realize what's actually happening on this planet, we can talk about the solutions, the solutions. We can figure out what we're going to do about it. And I think that there's a group of us that are here, a very large group, that came here just to do that and to spread information. So please stay tuned to howtoexitthematrix.com. You can find that as well on Facebook. I have a page, howtoexitthematrix.com. Would appreciate it if you would like it, just to grow the page and to keep up with the information that I will be posting about the radio shows that I'm going to be basing on the Matrix. Just like I did with Lily Earthling, with Gauze Stone, with Cameron Day, and be posting articles on my website that I write, as well as what I feel resonates with me. And so it may not everything resonate with you, but as we start honing in to what it is that we feel like is our truth, I would think that if you're listening to this show today, that you're going to probably like what I'm going to be posting from other people as well on howtoexitthematrix.com. We're not selling anything here. We're not trying to get anybody to adhere to what we're saying. We're just offering the information for you to use your own discernment, and I think you have to practice discernment. I mean, I've certainly done that in my life, and I'll be talking about that with my guest today. Let's see. One example of the articles that I'll be uploading to this site is my recent article on N5D called Why Won't My Family Listen to Me? It discusses the experiences that I have had in trying to purposefully and forcefully wake my family up, which didn't work, and how to deal with dissension from them, and how to, I'm a Sagittarius, or at least I was born under that sign, and that's what was stamped into my DNA for this lifetime. But I've had to learn not to be so bullheaded and not to be so forceful, on people, because, and there's a reason why. I mean, they're programmed not only to be blind at this time, but also they're programmed to I guess have emotions against the truth when it does get put into their face. And so that's something that this article talks about. And a special shout out to our Facebook friends, Facebook groups, and all the cosmic family out in the universe listening tonight, and all the other universes for that matter. And tonight's featured group that I like to give about on Facebook, especially tied into the topic of this show. The first is by my guests, How to Escape the Prison Matrix is their Facebook page, which is run by Alan Stockdale and Paul Massey. And Paul's not going to be with us tonight. He had a last-minute thing coming up, so it's just going to be me and Alan. And that's cool. Me and Alan can rock this show, and be bringing him on in just a second. There's, let's see, I wanted to say hi to everyone in the chat room for figuring out that this is a special time for today's show, because Alan is over in the UK, and he has equipment that he uses during the daytime to be able to do his shows, and so I think it just works out perfect. And for those of you listening to the recording, I thank you for finding us. I'm sorry that we didn't do the live show at the original time, but hey, we are changing things in the Matrix. We're changing our routines, and I think we're going to have a really good reception, quality-wise, on the connection tonight because of that today. Hell, I don't even know what time it is. So let's see what's next on my agenda. I wanted to mention, I'm going to take care of a little business here. I wanted to mention an issue that I'm seeing on some messages I'm getting through my website, CosmicStarseeds.com. That website is simply a compilation of every article I've ever written and every interview radio show on anybody else homepage, called CosmicStarseeds.net. And what they have done is, in order to interact within that website, you have to sign up by email. And now what they've done is they've sent out everybody emails that have no unsubscribe button capability on the emails, and they're spamming people with emails. And from what I understand, I haven't signed up myself, but from what I understand, there's even a part of it that takes you to a PayPal payment to set up some kind of PayPal payment. I don't know. That's CosmicStarseeds.net. That is not my website, CosmicStarseeds.com. Please do not send me emails on CosmicStarseeds.com to unsubscribe you and that you're sick of receiving my emails. I have no email database from anybody. I'm not selling anything. I will not ask you for, to sign up and pay to visit my website, CosmicStarseeds.com. And so I apologize that there's someone out there who's obviously taken advantage of the fact that I have good information, although they're not posting it on their website. Well, you can't even see what's in there until you sign in with an email address. So I just wanted to put that out there for everybody. Just be mindful that I am CosmicStarseeds.com. So I'd like to remind everybody that's here live with me that we can take your calls if you have any questions on the second half of this show. The call-in number is area code 646-716-8890. And as I mentioned, this week's topic is escaping the prison matrix. And Alan is going to be with me today, Alan Stockdale, and he's going to be here on the behalf of his partner, Paul Massey. They started their own radio show, And they also have a Facebook page called Escaping the Prison Matrix. And I'm going to let Alan introduce himself. And Alan, if you could join me, welcome
Hello.
to the Cosmic Awakening Show. Hi.
Hi, Michelle. Thanks a lot for having me on. It's an absolute pleasure. Been looking
It's
forward to this for over 2 weeks now.
I know. It's good to hear your voice. And I'm really excited to, we have a lot in common. And if you would, just explain to our listeners how we found each other and how you came to your truth about the fact that we're existing in a matrix.
Well, the way I found you was in a roundabout way. I'd listened to a recording by Cameron Day when he started talking about how he was not going to be a light worker no more. So I put a search in YouTube to find some more videos of his, and then I came across you on the Cosmic Awakening show, and then that's how I came across you. And straight away, as soon as I heard what you and Greg and everyone, all the guests, what you had on, it really resonated with me. And at that point, it was a sort of thing I was really gravitating to myself. So I found it was perfect. And then I found you on Facebook, and it was listening to your show for probably a few months. And then one day, my friend Paul Massey, I just rang him up out of the blue and just said, "Look, Paul, I think it's about time we started doing his own show. Give me some time. Let me try and work out how to do it, because I didn't have a clue how to record it, how to broadcast it, blog talk radio. I didn't know anything. So I just decided to go about it like I do. I'm lucky in one sense, because part of the job what I have do is website design, what I do for myself. So I was quite lucky to be able to create the website using those skills, and same with the videos for YouTube. So I did that quite quickly. But actually, to get to that point where I was in my life, I think I've been one of those people. I've had a very ordinary life, just been a normal working guy, working in construction, various different skills doing that. But I always had an interest in supernatural things, UFOs. I could never get enough books to read on the subjects. Didn't really know anything about astral side of things. I believe there was a God at the time. I didn't know exactly what it was, so I wasn't religious, but I knew there was some sort of creative force there, but I didn't really know what it was. And then I think it was probably 10 years ago, maybe, I came across David Icke. Now, when I first heard David Icke, many years before that, I just laughed, just like everyone else did, with all these crazy notions about reptilians and this and that. But then, years later, as I was obviously becoming more aware, I thought to myself, well, maybe. So I bought one of his books. I can't remember which one it was now. I think it might be The Lion Sleeps Tonight No More, or whichever it is. And I read that, and I used to read it in bed before I went to sleep. My wife laid next to me, and my mouth just dropped. I couldn't believe some of the stuff I was reading, but at the same time it resonated with me, and I couldn't believe that it was resonating with me. And I was relating this information to my wife, and she would just say, "Oh, what a load of rubbish." But yet, as time went on, I read more and more, and I started investigating it on YouTube. My wife was sat next to me, she was listening to it, even though I didn't even know she was, and she started to agree that, yeah, actually, there's too many people saying the same thing all over the world. And that's what really accelerated my awareness, was David Icke and all the things about the banking system, the birth certificate, all the 3D type subjects, as well as all obviously the way out there, reptilians and all that side of things. So that's what really accelerated my growth, and it just went from there. I always had an interest for years just listening to YouTube videos, but I have to say, it's only probably the last 18 months that it's really gone to an absolute out of there level to where I am now. So yeah, that's basically the story in a nutshell. Really quite ordinary. Just probably there's millions of people out there exactly the same boat as what I've just been. Sort of. I think with me, it's not so much a personal experience of things, even though I have had some. It's mainly a student of the knowledge of it, I think, and I've digested so much that it all just comes together in one big picture when you see it from afar, so to speak.
Yes, and we do really have a lot in common. But I never really immersed myself in the banking part of it and the actual technicality of how the 3D matrix is actually being run, and that's what we're going to talk about today, because I know that you've got a lot of information on that. But I want you to think back to, you said about 18 months ago, is when really things started to click to you. And mine started in not too long ago. 2010 is when I really started questioning everything in my reality and why I was even here suffering. I was really suffering. I had to have one of those dark nights of the soul, metaphysically speaking, to where things were being presented in my reality. I realized something's really wrong with this, and here, why do I need the things that are presented in our lives that make us so sad and make us struggle and everything. And it got so I got so distraught about it that's what caused my awakening and caused me to and we're not, by the way, we're not truly awakened yet. We have no idea what's coming. But what do you think it is? I mean, I know we had December 21st of 2012 came and went, and a lot of people were disappointed. They thought they were disappointed, but really it was just an energetic marker that we knew about, and that the ancients knew about, the Mayans knew about, like a cycle that was coming to an end. But what do you think it was 18 months ago that really got you to start questioning or even to look on the internet for David Icke or the things actually, isn't it interesting how you really got led to it kind of got dropped in your lap? But what even made you think about it?
Well, it was longer than 18 months. It was 18 months ago when I really started to see the Matrix for what it was, but the David Icke book was probably 10 years ago. So so at the point when it was 10 years ago with the David Icke, I honestly can't put my finger on why I bought that book. It was just something inside me that says, just buy it. It looks like a good read, if nothing else, and it was as simple as that. And then when I started to read it, the information just resonated inside me. It was like, wow, this is really true. But I have to say, I kept most of the information to myself, just me and my wife, because I still had the ego, still had the, oh, what's people going to think of me? They're going to think I'm mad, even though this stuff is really resonating with me. So I kept it to myself a lot of the time, and then it was only really when I met my wife, which was just after when I first come into David Icke. Then I got my wife, and then he's got his stepkids and my stepdaughter. I started telling my stepson about it, and I found he was like a sponge, and it's because the year he was born he's only 19 now, and I'm going back all those years, and he was like a sponge. He just listened to it all, and it resonated with him. He told all his friends, and I had his friends coming round to our house asking me questions about the banking system and debt and why doesn't money really exist and all these sort of things. What we're going to talk about. I started telling all these young lads about it, and they just went out and spread the word to their mums and dads. So I look back at it, and I think that's what I drew on to make me start doing something more active, is the fact that I can communicate this to people. But as far as when I really started to wake up 18 months ago, I do believe that's basically a lot of people were disappointed, because obviously I was well aware about 2012 coming up, and for me it was never going to be this big ascension, this big all of a sudden people's just going to pop out of the Matrix. I thought, no, that's not what's going to happen. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I know it wasn't that. And I look back now, and it's just like you just said. It's just a start. It's like the end of the time loop. What we were stuck in with where if we're going to go into the astral realm of things, where they're keeping us in a time loop to keep feeding off us. I think we've broken away from that, and one of the people like ourselves that are more aware, we see that for what it is. But people are still stuck in the Matrix, just on the everyday grind, because of how it's made. I mean, the banking system is a perfect example of that. And even before that, you've got your birth certificate. I mean, do you want to go into talk about that and how that entraps people into the Matrix on a physical level? Just that one thing.
Yeah, I mean, first, to get into basics about this third dimensional physical body that we live in, the first thing that this is the avenue that I kind of took with my family, which was not the right avenue for them. If I would have started talking about the banking system and how things aren't making sense that way and not gotten into anything metaphysical or spiritual, I think it probably would have gone over a lot better. But, basically to understand that I'm a whole picture kind of gal, and to understand the whole picture, we are souls we are a spark of source having an experience in this physical body, and when our physical body dies, our soul lives on, and we do have a mind consciousness that still is able to, I guess, what you call think. Really, the brain does our thinking here, but our brain is the part that can be controlled, because they created, they meaning the ones who are controlling us, created it that way so that they can program thoughts into it, and so that it keeps us separated from knowing who we are and why we're here. So the main thing to understand on a higher level is that we are energy. We have the capability of existing and not. I don't like to use the word thinking, but yeah, I guess thinking through our mind, our mind that's outside of this matrix. Our higher self is a better word to use, and that is connected to all of our different levels and layers of what I'm going to say light body, because light is a very tricky word, because they have used the word, they have used the light to create this matrix, but there is an organic form of energy that does emit a light, and it's not the false, very bright white light that they use. So we do have light bodies, and they are connected to a higher self, a higher consciousness that exists. So what we do is we come in and we incarnate in a physical body. Sometimes the soul enters the womb before the baby's born and gets to hang out inside the mother, inside the baby, and sometimes it comes in right when the baby's born. So when the baby's born, the baby just came from the outside of the matrix, or the part of the matrix that where they hold souls to throw them back into bodies, and part of the reincarnation cycle that Cameron Day has talked about a lot in his articles, and we've talked about as well. So it came from somewhere else, and it's its memory is wiped, and so you're a baby and you open your eyes and you're looking around, and you may see light, you may see geometric patterns, you may see other beings, you may see all these different things, and only when you're programmed to not for that not to be what's real does that start fading away, and it slowly fades away. Little children that learn how to talk, toddlers, they have their conversations with their imaginary beings, which are it is their imagination, but so beings slowly fade away. There's a program system set up that follows through your genealogy, and every parent that's born, unawake, that doesn't wake up, is going to program their children inside this this time loop thing that keeps running, this program that keeps running on its own. So when we go to school, we're programmed there, and from children who have all this wonderful, beautiful energy, this pure energy, they haven't been siphoned very much. That's why, if they do get siphoned, that's like the gold. Children's energy is so pure and so unadulterated, I guess is a good word. It's like gold to those who siphon energy, that need energy to live. So the children with all this beautiful energy are sitting in schools all day, bored, learning lies. So, and then innately they know it, but they are taught that this is what they need to know in order to make money and to make a living. And so that's where we get into the banking system. So go ahead with the banking system.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think I'll start off with the birth certificate, because that really is at your birth.
Oh, yes. That's where we were getting. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I mean, I don't know if the people listening to your show, obviously, they may be just into just the spiritual side of things, maybe they don't know about this sort, but I think it's very important that people need to realise this, because this is the sort of stuff that they actually bond you to the Matrix on a purely physical level, because they do this to actually make you go out to work, to make you earn some so-called money, to just to survive, and then you're not even thinking about, you've got no time to think about the spiritual matters, escaping the Matrix, even seeing a Matrix. I mean, it's like David Icke says, is the best sort of prisoners are the ones that don't even know they're in jail, and that's what that's the birth certificate is, the first thing they get you. And basically, how it works is, a lady has a child, it's registered straight away, and as soon as it's registered straight away, that makes a birth certificate, and all that is, it's to create a financial fiction. And this financial fiction is your name, and it's always all capitals. So hence, any time you get a bill, I'm pretty sure it's the same in your country as in the UK, it will be. Every time you get electric, gas bill, any sort of credit card bill, it's always capital letters. And the trick what they use with the birth certificate is to make you think that that is you, and that you owe that money, and you owe this. Well, you don't. It's actually a piece of paper called a birth certificate. That's the financial fiction. That's what owes the money, and it only owes the money, and you only have to pay that money if you consent to it, because as we know in this universe, everything's got to be done by consent. They might hoodwink you into doing it, but you still agree to do it nonetheless. So therefore, they use that consent to get you then to represent yourself. So then you go through life, your mum's telling you you must go to school, you must get some good results, that'll give you a job where you can earn some money, and then what do you do then? You go out there, and then you go to a bank. Then you get to an age where you might need a loan for a house. So then you go to a bank, and then they use your signature at the bank to create the money, right? So, to cut a long story short, let's just pretend, let's have a scenario, Michelle. You're going into the bank to get a loan, right? You see a bank manager, they will say to you, right, here's some paperwork, sign that paperwork, and we'll get you some money out of our vaults. And you think to yourself, oh, that's great, I've lent $100,000, let's say, that's the bank's money, I must pay that back diligently, must work my butt off to do that. But it's wrong, because what you do when you sign the paperwork in the bank, that's actually creating a promissory note. Now, in our country, there's a guy called Lord Dunning, actually did a court ruling that said promissory notes are actually legal tender. And the banks know this, that's why they do it. So you sign that paperwork, that bank then takes it to, in our country it's the Bank of England, and they monetise that piece of paper, and that creates this money. Right, and all this money is nowadays, it's just digits on a screen. So you've created these digits on a screen, but this is the clever bit. What they do, the Bank of England then give these digits on a screen to the bank you've just gone to, but the bank will create an account in your all signature, all your capital name. That account will sit there, but they won't tell you that. So your money, what you've created, is actually in the bank, there, the digits, but they don't tell you that. And because everything in this world is on maritime law, that's what the elite use, maritime law, they will then wait 7 days, and then they'll claim salvage, that's what it's called to do with ships, maritime, salvage on that money, and then they'll take that money and put it into their account. And then they'll get in touch with you, Michelle. Hi, Michelle. Yes, I'd just like to let you know that your money's now in your account, the money what you created, and then you go away, pay that money back what you created yourself, plus 100% interest, sometimes 3 times as much, and then that creates then the system of debt. So therefore there's more and more debt coming into society. Oh, it's a never-ending story, Michelle, and that's how they get you. And it's all from your birth certificate to your banking system, creating money what you've created yourself. And back to the birth certificate, now this is for your elites and your royals. They know that when you create that birth certificate, that is actually creating, it's actually on the stock exchange, right? So you could get your birth certificate and put the numbers, what are on the top of your birth certificate, into the stock exchange, and you will see your stock, that'll be your birth certificate, will be there, and I guarantee you now it's going to be worth well over $1 million, depending on what sort of family you've got, how much money they expect you to make in your life. And this is, like I've just said then, they're using the birth certificate as a How can I put it? Oh, right, this Michelle, she's going to work in the oil industry like you did. Yeah, let's just say, and she's going to earn X amount of money in her life. She's going to buy X amount of goods in her life. So what we'll do, because she's going to spend all that, she's worth $1 million, let's say, right? So then somebody, banking system, the elites behind it all, they buy these things for $1 million. But really, that birth certificate, that's your share certificate. So that $1 million is yours. It's not theirs. You are the beneficiary, but they don't tell you that. So therefore, every time you pay a bill, a gas bill, electric bill, any sort of utility bill, they actually get the money, the gas companies get the money off your trust, what's your birth certificate, and then they charge you on top of that, so they've got you twice again. And all the elites and the royals, they actually have their own card. It's called a treasury card, and they can actually go into any shop, and that's why you've probably heard over the years that, you know, why come they never have to pay for anything? They go out, everything's for free. Well, that's why it's for free, because they use their own treasury card, what accesses their own birth certificate money, what they know they're worth. But they don't tell us none of that.
Let me interrupt you on that. I've never heard of this treasury card.
Yeah.
The elites have their own, like, basically their own gold human MasterCard?
Yeah.
Based on energy.
Yeah, it's based on the amount what their birth certificate is worth. And because the people that value the birth certificates when it's been sold off as a share when you're a child, obviously if you're in a dynasty of billionaires, trillionaires, then think how much money theirs is worth.
Wow.
And they don't pay for anything at all. I mean, I can remember growing up and I used to say to my mum and dad, you know, you hear stories that, oh yeah, the king Abdullah went there and he got all these free gifts and he walked out the shop, he never paid for any meals, free royal tickets to this. But they're not, they're only people that perceive it as free, but he just pays it with his treasury card. So
interesting.
Yeah. And
you mentioned that this is all based on maritime law, and
yes.
I just wanted to let people know that their organic template of Earth has natural laws. Maritime law is part of the matrix created to create the whole system of control, including the fact that money, you know, basically money. People don't really need money. So money is one of the top controls, along with the system of banking that, you know, it entails, and as well as we've talked about on other shows, we have the religion, we have the education, we have the media, we have the government. All of this, we're just talking about a couple pieces of the big puzzle right now. So, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, there's so many different facets to their control, but like I said, the money for me is one of the most powerful ones because it makes you just then you've got to work, and as they're squeezing society now to make it more and more difficult to earn enough money just to survive, then they know that's causing you more pain and anguish. That's what the astral beings feed off. Obviously, all the archons, they all feed off that negativity, all the anguish, and at the same time, the other side of the coin is you've got no spare time to actually do what me and you have done and spend some time awakening and digesting information and spending time on yourself and doing the things that matter in your life and doing the things what's pleasurable that keep you in the now, that keep you that keep you in your centre. Whereas when you're working, you're always thinking about your job, and it's all one big thing. And for me, that's why I think it's so important for people to know about these things as well, because I find that this is a good way to awaken your family members. Like you said earlier, you went at it with all the spiritual side of things. I've tried it. When I talk to anybody in the street, anybody I meet, any friends, if the topic comes round of how hard it is and how much they work and any of those subjects, I just put a few pointers in and see if they bite. And if they start asking me questions, then away you go. And then you'll see these people come back 6 months later and they'll have awakened to all of it because they started off with that one thing, and then, yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Well, I want to read something here. You know, it does start with the birth certificate. This whole, all the control starts with the birth certificate, and then, like I said before, the programming through the family and the system, that they set up. But basically, this is just what you've said. But there's also some etymology that you can follow when you start understanding the key terms that are used and how they created the language.
Yeah.
With black magic spelling, which turns words backwards or, in reverse, or actually the root of those words actually means something, detrimental rather than helping us. So, okay, here we go. Let's see. This is how they control you in the Matrix, by elusive consent, which cannot be reversed unless you are aware of it. I mean, that's like the biggest thing. I mean, we just gave away the end of the show. We could just leave right now and just go have a nice breakfast or something, So this is the doctrine of the Holy See, S-E-A, but it's also S-E-E. The soul is seen as a fish, or ishim, I-S-H-I-M, out of water when it enters into the earth, the material square, which is the cube. The instant the mother's water breaks, her argo or cargo descends the birth, B-I-R-T-H, or birth, B-E-R-T-H, under maritime law, canal. There is a doctor or a dock on hand to take the delivery. Once born, the baby is under the earth jurisdiction of Mary, M-A-R-I, time, law. So this does all, mirror the metaphysical aspect, but, most people, when you're explaining it to them, you really don't have to explain this part, but it is very interesting. And that's opposed, to the organic natural law that Earth intended for this experience to be. There are laws of the Matrix one must abide by, just like you said, and it seems that that would be they aren't even following the laws anymore. But mostly the laws are that they are supposed to basically tell you what they're doing to you, and they do. It's just that they are so crafty that they've created ways for you not to really understand.
Exactly.
A certificate of birth or a manifest, if you think about that word, I mean, manifestation, a manifest is written itemizing the condition and specifics of the argo or the cargo. The baby vessel, we're a vessel, our bodies are vessels, is given a SS number. In the United States, that's our Social Security number. Then granted privilege to go ashore. If it gets into trouble, the accused soul finds itself in court, once again standing on the dock or docket. The soul is considered dead while sailing in the earthly container. So that's interesting. It's almost like saying that we're born dead in a way, but that's what we're here to change, and that's why we're talking about this now. It is a ship in the bottle seeking the dock that will allow it to unload its cargo, the human biological transformational apparatus, and eventually to re-enter the cosmic ocean. So that was... I love the banking system. Are you still there?
you broke up the last 30 seconds. All I heard then was banking system. That's all I heard.
Oh, okay. So that's pretty much a little metaphysical, a little occult type understanding of actually what's happening. But if you'd like to continue on with the banking system, that would be cool.
Yeah, well, the other point I wanted to point out with the banking system is, once you realise that it is what it is, in other words, the money's made by yourself, that then negates any debt what anybody may be in. Now, they use debt as another way of control, a huge, massive way to control you. Now, once you understand that money you created was yours, then morally, why should you pay it back? That's your money. It comes from you. You've created it with your own signature. Now, you get all the people out there what's still in the Matrix, sorry, they still think that money belonged to the bank, and they feel morally that they've got to pay it back. Well, you don't. Now, in this country, I've interviewed a guy called Mark Salon, and if anybody listening out there wants to go to his website called getoutofdebtfree.org, is a really excellent website, and it actually gives you practical advice, templates, and everything to get out of debt totally legally, as if you want to put it legally, because basically what you do is, if bank are sending you demands, I'm not talking about mortgages for your house, because that's a different kettle of fish, so to speak. I'm talking about credit card debts, any loans that are not secured in your house to start with. If they are then saying that you owe them this money, well, you don't. And all you have to do, and if you go to that website, getoutofdebtfree.org, it tells you in great detail that basically that you don't owe them the money. And if you do, get them to prove it. So there's a 3-letter system where basically you just send off a letter and you're asking them to prove that you owe them the money. And I won't go into exact details what you exactly have to do, because it is a very complex thing. But the templates are on this website that show you what to do, and I've used them and I've done this. And basically your debts will go away, and then that empowers you. And once you get that empowerment, that helped me as well with my awakening, because I realised that, hang on a minute, I don't have to do what these so-called people in charge tell me, because they're lying to me, and it's not true. And I know it's not true, and you take them on. And you do that, and you get these debts basically just go away. And so you do a 3-letter approach where you're asking them for the proof. Give me the proof. And the reason there's never no proof is because the bank, when, for instance, you go in for that loan and you put your signature on it, they will never sign their side of it ever, because they know they're committing fraud, because they're lending you your money. And that's why when you ask them for the proof, that proof never exists. Now, when you get to mortgages on your house, then it's the same principle, but because the state we're in with the matrix, with the oppression as it is in our country especially, and I mean, we've been to these places, been to rallies where we stop people getting the house repossessed by bailiffs. That's another subject. But basically, what I'm trying to say is they're even overriding their own rules with that. So we found in this country the only way to stop them taking the houses off people is by actually going physically to the houses when the bailiffs come and just standing there, no violence, just peacefully telling them that we don't agree with it. Police come, they don't do anything because there's too many people there. And there's actually on Facebook, there's some groups called Response. Now I know it's only for the UK, any UK listeners, what's in debt, go to these Facebook groups called Response. They're all over the UK, and they help you. And so this is another way to empower yourself to take that power back. And once you do that, your energies are coming back to you on a spiritual level as well, and that'll help you to be more aware of all the other parts of the more far out stuff that we all know about, with the astral realms and everything else. It all jots together, all the dots come together, and it really does help people. So anybody listening to this that's in debt and getting harassed, go to that website and then take it from there and just do your own investigation. Don't take my word for it. Go and have a look and do it yourself, and you'll see thousands of people what it's helped. And on a physical level, they've still got the house, because as we both know, Michelle, that's exactly what they want us to work to death, lose us house, have no money, make us homeless, put us in prison. Then they make profit on the prisons. It's just all one big downward spiral, and you just need to get out of it and empower yourself to do that. And that's, I think, knowing about these physical things is the way to do it.
Yes, and so let's just jump forward to the solutions, and that is, awareness is the number one thing. Once you finally realize that what is happening to the human race, even if it depends on the person whether they are going to question far enough to get to the overall big picture, the cosmic wars, or if they just want to focus, if that's just way too much for their brains and they just want to focus on the simple things about how debt and it is controlling us, and how when we're born and we have a birth certificate that basically has value, that's traded off into the stock market and things like that. I mean, basically that we're slaves to a system. Many people have the grand illusion in the United States that we are free, and and they put these thoughts and these programming ideas into other people's minds that don't live here, that have really, I mean, third world countries, I can understand wanting to go anywhere but there. And people that wake up, they may well do that for now until things change. But this is not, we are not free here. We're not free anywhere
Henry,
on this planet, especially in the United States, which was created just to have the illusion of freedom so that people that are here are more easily controlled. It's like the opposite. Everything is backwards. So awareness is the first step, though. And really, it may sound oversimple, but once their game is up through awareness, things fall apart naturally. It goes back to Earth's natural organic template. That's what awareness can do. So even if someone feels like they're powerless against the system and they don't feel like they even have the strength to try to reduce their debt, to get completely out of debt, to get their student loans erased, when they take their energy away from money and what money was created for, just by awareness, thought, and intention, then that. Now, one thing, when I had enough, I paid all my debt off, and I try to buy things. I don't have any credit cards, and I do have a debit card because I'm using now the banking system to my favor to be able to function in society. There are some people who take it to the very extreme and don't even have a banking account. Some people have let go of their driver's licenses, their Social Security cards. Currently, in order for me to do what I need, which is to try to reach as many people as possible with information to allow them to make up their own mind, I need these certain things to be able to manipulate the matrix. So when you have a different way of looking, once you realize what's happening, you have a different way of looking at things, thinking about things, and the way you feel about things. Well, I'm just going to use that bank, and I'm going to try to find a bank that has no minimum amount that I must keep in there, and that I can at least have a debit card so I can make purchases online and still use the system to my favor. Then that works as well. That really does work as well.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Anybody out there that still has all this debt on top of them. The main thing I can say is you have to use your imagination and you have to understand the system. And when that happens, you can work on yourself to remove the energy that they've placed on that debt that is shackling you down. That's freedom in itself, and that's information is very powerful. So this is not a doom gloom scenario where this is the way it is. Something's going to change on this planet. It's going to change because people are going to wake up. I was talking about December 21st of 2012, a lot of people being discouraged that nothing happened, but I guarantee you an energy shift happened. And when that energy shift happened, I can't explain it. I've tried to explain it in New Age terms, which I don't believe in now. I've tried to explain it in spiritual and metaphysical ways, but let's just put it down to some simple terms. Something is happening on this planet outside of this matrix that is affecting human consciousness. We are all tied together with consciousness. Something is affecting that and making people at one point in their life wake up to something's really wrong and start seeking. And then there are those who are here with information, whether it be right information or wrong information, it's out there, and it helps them to start the process of removing their energy, from the system. When we can remove our energy from their system, whether it just be by intention or whether it really is by cleaning up your debt or canceling credit cards or whatever, that is going to starve the system and the system will collapse. Now, let's talk a little bit ironically about the fact that they're collapsing their whole system. Can we do that for a minute?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, we know why they're collapsing the system, don't we? So they can have one world currency, and yeah, it's oh man, it's the. I've lost for words, Michelle, with this because it astounds me how they create the problem, they exacerbate it to make it as bad as what it can possibly be, and then they crash it all and say, oh, hang on a minute, we've got the solution for you. We all need one currency to do it, so we can do it all on a global scale with one thing. Yeah, I don't think so, do you? No way.
No. Well, it is interesting how this has all been planned out a long time ago, even before the Queen of England wanted the Americas to be basically taken away from the Indians and changed into America, and all the wars with Mexico to get as much, land as possible, as well as the Canadians, and to try to grow this system where they could grow their plan. So this time, I believe, I don't know when, but this time I believe that this system will indeed fail, because they set it up that way through the astrological calendar. This is supposed to be the time that a new golden age comes in. And we'll talk, metaphysically, if we were talking about the whole picture, you and I, and the people who see the big picture, we are wanting to escape altogether the matrix that includes the timeline, the astral timeline of a golden age, which is tied to their astrology. And that's why, a lot of presidents and a lot of world leaders have astrologers on their staff, because they can study energetically when's the best time to do black magic, to do intentions to reinforce their programming. And so they created this whole system based on, paper money that has no value, that is created out of thin air, has nothing to back it. And now, guess what they're doing? They're telling everybody in subtle ways, Did you know that the banking system is created this way, and it's and you can see that it's obviously wrong. This is not the way we should be living. So we've got to change it. We need to change the system, and maybe it'll have to collapse. Well, they're collapsing it, and they're doing that just as you said, so that they can create, they can take over the whole world with a one world order, which involves a one world currency, a one world religion, and a one world government. And there are some people on the planet that have been so beaten down and so programmed that this may sound good to them in the end.
Yeah, exactly.
But what I'm here to do is to let people know that is the false, that's the false comfort. The real comfort is in knowing who you are, why you're here, and that the fact that we are in another construct, someone else's construct, and it is basically made of waves and energy and light, and we have been trapped here through that reincarnation system that we talk about, and that there is a way out. And if we don't find that way out before we leave this body, then we know that when we leave this body, just simply don't go into the tunnel where the reincarnation, the light, the false light. And I just say that only because I'm going to say it on every show I have. Because if that's all we can do in this lifetime, hey, that's huge.
That's
now,
massive,
I do want to follow up by, know we're getting...
Michelle, you broke up again just as you started.
I'm out of here. Oh, okay. Thank you. I unplugged directly into my modem. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, of course they're going to try to keep me from saying this, but I'm out of here. I may come back, but I'm going to get out of here first, and I'm going to clear my mind, and I'm going to connect wholly and completely, and decide where to go from there. But so I'm going to find the grid, and I'm going to try to find a hole in the grid. I'm going to try to get out. So that's just a long story short. That's what I'm going to do. However,
could I tell, Michelle, if we're going further, could I tell you a little story about my wife and when she had a near-death experience when she was having a baby, and how that relates to what we're talking about now?
Yes, let me just finish real quick, because the second thing is that there's some people who may need to come back. And they take the risk of reincarnation through the tunnel of losing their memory. However, as Lily Earthling, who we had a show with before, she is mentioning that some of the people that incarnate through the core of the planet, instead of the way that the Greys are shooting the souls into the into the baby body. Excuse me. if you can incarnate through the planet, you have a better chance of keeping a lot of your memory and being able to do more in your lifetime if you do have to come back. So I just wanted to finish that. It's all an individual choice. I know a lot of us have done this so many times that we want to get as much done in this lifetime and then move out of this matrix. But yeah, I would love to hear about that experience with your wife. I had no idea.
Yeah. Well, basically, it's very, very relevant to what we just said then about being born either from the astral, coming through, being mind washed, and then on Earth, or coming from organic Earth into a body. Now, when my wife had this experience, all she'd seen on TV programs, on films, is when you die, there's a light, you go through the light, all your loved ones are there, and everything's great. Now, that's what she thought reality was. And when like I said, these are my stepchildren, so it's not my child she had, but when she had one of the children, she actually died while she had the child. And she said this to me years and years and years ago before I knew any of this stuff. And she said, I was really shocked, Alan. So I said, why? She went, well, nobody come to meet me. There was no loved ones. There was no light. There was no tunnel. She goes, and all there was this blackness, what I was going to go towards. And then something inside me, a voice said, no, it's not your time yet. And then she went back to her body. Now, that in itself, when she told me, didn't really astound me so much. I thought, well, maybe he wasn't dead. But she investigated it and found out that, yes, she was clinically dead for only a short period, I think it was about a minute, something like that. But then if you go forward now to what you've just said then, and she knows this stuff now, and she realises that she must be born from the organic. She feels that she's born from the organic Earth, and she's not come from the time loop. Hence, that's why she didn't have that experience. And when she's realised this has really accelerated her. I don't want to call them powers, but the knowing inside you about things to come, things to happen, and she just knows these things more and more now. And I think she's realising that she is one of these people. Yeah, she has come from the organic. And for me, that experience, because how many other people do you hear have experiences? They all say about the light, don't they? Then it's all nice and warm and fuzzy and beautiful. Then they have to come back. Well, her experience was totally different. And for me, she is one of those. That's what I believe.
Well, imagine that they don't want us to know that. That some, I mean, let's put the information out there. This is the 90% truth, that there is a reincarnation trap and that there's a, bright white light at the end of a tunnel. And that's why they published all of those near-death experiences through those men with letters behind their names, so that people could all think that they came from the reincarnation trap. But one of the greatest things I learned from Lily is that there are some of us in this cosmic war that knew that we needed to come here to help, free souls who are willing to help themselves, and to just, all they have to do is wake up and intend that they want to be free of this, and things will fall into place. So we found a trap door, a back door in the quarantine, which was the planet. And the planet has a sentient consciousness, and she allows people to come incarnate through her. She has to approve it. So that is, that's something I wanted to say on a metaphysical level, that this was a deal we made with the planet as well, to be here. Now, you still have to, I don't know why, but somehow you still have to have some of your memory wiped. Of your past lives. I guess that's a deal that she made, because look, if all of us that came here that didn't have their memory wiped, and we're kids walking around, running around saying, when I was on this planet or that planet or whatever, well, then that would call attention to us to where the Illuminati system would put us in the loony bin and medicate us, and then we'd never have a chance of doing. So we had to go undercover. In order to go undercover, we had to have a certain time that we would click, that everything would click, and we would start, erasing the programming and remembering. And that's what David Icke says in his book, Remember Who You Are, is once you remember that, once you even hear my words that you could possibly have come through the planet to reincarnated through the planet to be here at this certain time, then you kind of know, oh wow, that's cool. But you know what? I still think that I had many, many, many lives where I incarnated. I was pushed back into a body through their technology, and the reason I say that is because I know that I know I've been told, and I don't have any past life memory recall, and I did that probably to protect myself from not going insane. But I know I've been told about being let's just say, for example, a Templar.
Yeah.
Well, Templars had the knowledge. It depends on how high that had the knowledge. At one point made an exit, through out of the matrix, and then reincarnated through the earth to help change things at this time. The Mayans walked right out of here. They walked they just dissolved themselves out of here, and so there are different. I think there's always been a core group of different beings who have woken up or have somehow got themselves sleeping with the enemy to where they get the knowledge that they needed to exit in one way or another. So these are just all possibilities. But I like talking about these things. So back to removing your energy from the system. I think that there's a lot of misleading information out there in the New Age about meditation and about your chakras and stuff, and I haven't quite gotten to the point where I can say, truthfully, the chakras are what they feed off of, or that meditation is opening yourself up to allow them to connect and feed off of your energy. But what I would like to say is that you could forget about anything you've ever learned about that. You can forget almost everything you've learned.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is basically just center and ground yourself with the planet, because she's organic. She has the original template. She wants to return to a way of living on this planet without money, a way of no competition, no hierarchy, in that, there may be an organic hierarchy in that people who have more knowledge or wisdom of the truth can share it with the others, but it's not, it's nothing like our system now. Yeah. So, tell me a little bit about how you understand how you center and ground yourself.
Well, for me personally, I first started actually doing the meditation, sort of grounding myself to Gaia, and the way I did that is there's a few articles on my website where I talked about this experience. I've had several, and basically what I do is a meditation what Cameron Day actually put out there, and it's for meditating. But when I say meditating, all I mean is just breathing and then just getting yourself into that non-thinking area. What's very hard to do, we all know that, not think about nothing whatsoever. Then I was just sending beams of light out of her body into the core of Gaia, Mother Earth, and just connecting with her, and then letting that beam of light come out from her back into my body. And I did that, and when I started to do that practice, I did that sort of probably once or twice a day for about 2 weeks. I felt so much more at peace. And even though my knowledge of things per se wasn't going any faster, but I just felt at peace and at ease with everything. And the love for Gaia in me just was exponential. It was amazing. I was looking at things out of the window, just trees, little flies in my house, just thinking, oh, bless it, oh. Whereas before I just spotted it. It was things like that. And so then I went from there, and then I started doing more on a physical level, where I swapped my diet. I don't eat no more meat no more, and that was it was a decision I made, but it just happened. I never didn't really think about it. I just suddenly woke up one day and thought, no, I'm not going to eat meat no more, because I don't want to take that energy away from that animal. Now, I'm not having to go at anybody who eats meat, but I'm just saying, for me, that's what I did. And once I went down that route, I started to eat more organic, live vegetables, and I've later found out as I just did this by instinctiveness, really, I found out that that's a really good way to ground yourself to Gaia is eating the organic produce. And then I started, I say started, this is an ongoing project of mine, trying to find grass where I actually live, and bare feet walking on the grass. That is an amazing way of just connecting directly with Gaia and centering yourself and doing things of that nature. And I've also stopped. I don't think about things like I used to before either. I just know. I try to know things and not go through a process of thinking it, and that helps me to ground and to centre myself as well. And it's like bringing all those aspects together just seem to centre me and just make me I just feel content in my life. Even I see all the things that are going around me, but I've just got this inner peace what I've never had before, and it's the connection to Gaia what I feel. That's it. It's as simple as that for me. If I could say anything to anybody out there, you don't have to do any of these complicated meditation things, anything. It's just very, very simply connecting with Mother Earth, Gaia. Because at the end of the day, I think it was Gaia herself that did this shift in 2012 that opened up these energies. I think it was her personally herself thinking, right, I've had enough now. You've had this experience. What I agreed to let you have. Fair enough, and we contracted with these dark entities, if you want to call them that, to do what they've done to give us this oppression. I think personally, it's all part of the growth as a source, as a consciousness. We need to experience it because it's just possibility, and we want to experience all possibility. Where I think they've got to a stage, I think, where the guys we contracted to do this got out of control, have cut themselves off source, and they don't even realise it. And now Gaia's thought, right, I've had enough of this, time to do something about it, and that's where we are now. So simply for me, people out there, just do those centering techniques, grounding techniques, and at the same time accumulating the knowledge what I've got, what you can find out if you've not got it already about what the matrix is on a physical level. All these things come together, and it just and it sort of rise up. It's like you rise up out of the forest and you just see the entire globe for what it is and what it all is, and you can just have a smile on your face because you're not part of that no more, and just go back down to earth and help other people to do the same. So that's my mantra of life.
That's awesome. And I did start out trying to do meditation myself. I've talked about that a lot, and I think the only part of the meditation that really ever worked for me was the grounding part. And I'm still now even concerned about letting light in, any other kind of light in, because that's the whole trick of the New Age spirituality is let light into your crown chakra. Why would you want to do that? You are light. You have all of your energy within you. And that is, that's what they want. And so you don't want to let anything out or anything in, but you want to go within. And that's how do you go with, but to do it, you just need to remember, and you need to trust that you're doing it, because you can just sit with yourself and you can close your eyes. I mean, meditation itself is just a word that's been hijacked, just like light. You can do a meditation if you want. You can use that frequency, the Earth frequency. Is it 428 hertz? Do you remember?
I see.
I have a block. I have a block with numbers.
Me too.
And math.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Earth frequency, you can use that kind of meditation music if you want, and just make your focus more of loving yourself, being with yourself, and grounding yourself to the planet. And you might even be able to start connecting with Gaia herself, and connect. I think eventually, how the light beings have, how the false light beings have connected with people. Well, that may be, once we found out about it, may be a total turnoff not to channel anything at all. But I don't believe that. I believe that right now what we're doing is we're learning how to discern. And when we learn proper discernment through practice, and we learned how to access that information within us, I think that we could channel Gaia, we can channel our higher self. I think that we can channel a lot of the right kind of beings, because see, they can't our benevolent helpers from other planets, from other galaxies, from other universes, they can't come here around us, or else they'll be trapped, because once they hit a certain part, they become physically dense, so they can't come that close. If they come here, they can only stay for a very short period of time, or they run the risk of getting material, dense and physical. And so you either have to incarnate through a body to change things from the inside out, or you can connect with somebody who's properly connected themselves to the planet. So yes, I do believe that eventually there are some kind of channelings that will have information that is
Why not?
accurate.
I think, Michelle, what we should start to do, instead of using the word channeling, why don't we just use communication instead? Because when you say channeling, that's got all that energy behind it of what you've just said, and what people who are aware may associate it with. So just communications from Gaia or whatever, you know what I mean? I think it's people get hooked on certain words and they don't see past that sometimes. So I used to say awaken all the time. Now I've started saying aware, being aware. It's, yeah. So
it's the same with meditation. Let's just call it grounding and centering rather than meditation.
Yeah. There was another thing I forgot to mention as well. What I do, I know a lot of people do the same, and Goz was speaking to me about this the last week, and it was actually the art of doing something. To get away from thinking, to get away from, because obviously mental is in the astral, but doing is just your centre. And I know Goss, for instance, he's a musician and he uses playing his instrument to do, not to think, just to do. My wife uses knitting, whatever it may be, that you can just have a hobby, have something that you do and you don't think. And that in itself is grounding you to Gaia, is all part of it, because you're pulling yourself more and more out of the astral thinking, because that's what it is. And I think with that side of things, with the astral side, that's why like I said to you before we come on air, my actual page and my website is called Escape the Prison Matrix, but I don't see it as escaping now. I just see it as dissolving it or curing it, even maybe, because I think that us as a consciousness, as beings, I think we've got to pull all these realms back down into ourselves and into Gaia to then sort of use Gaia as the mechanism to go back to source, basically. So I think the astral is like what's the mental side of us, what we think. That's when we connect into these astral parts. I think the matrix is in that, and I think we just need to cure that and dissolve it by doing these things what we're just talking about. And I think if more and more people do that, I think it'll get to a stage where it'll just dissolve it. And I think that's where the 100 monkey syndrome comes in. When I think enough people do it, it will dissolve it to an aspect where then all of a sudden it'll boom, it will just be gone.
Yes.
Personally myself, yeah.
It's so simple, but it seems hard to believe, but I'm telling you, we are here talking to you people today because we are seeing it in our reality. We are seeing things dissolve around us. We are seeing glitches in the matrix. We are also acknowledging the fact that our reality has to be brought down in order for them to rebuild it, what they think is going to be, rebuilding, but they're going to have this stark reality that they're not going to be able to rebuild it, because we're not going to blindly say, yes, give this to me.
Yep.
No longer are we blindly, voting for one party or the other, which when both parties are run by the same, ultimately, the Vatican and the Church, even though it's the United States.
Yeah.
So, when we have the knowledge, we can say no, and that goes for all of the astral entities that are part of this matrix, that are pulling our strings, not only our government strings, but we were like puppets as well.
Yep.
Pulling, because we were, the implant is. The physical implant that we have that they connect to is in our body, because they created that part of it, and we can rewire that just by energetically going within the part that can't be messed with, and that is the heart center. And, being connected to Gaia, and being connected to the other part, the bigger part of us that's outside of the matrix. So that can't be messed with.
Yeah.
So,
This little story I've got as well happened the other week with Goz. What you might want me to tell you, what'll empower people. You want me to tell you? Right. When I did my first recording with Goz, I don't know if you've heard it on my channel, but
I did.
It was absolutely, totally annihilated with interference. Every time you got into subjects, the connection would go. We kept persevering. We laughed and joked about it, but we carried on, and I still put the recording out because there was still information, what was good, what we could hear. And then we wanted to do another recording a week later, and me and him was having conversations, or I say conversations, it was like talking to a Dalek from 20 seconds delayed on Skype. We couldn't communicate at all. And I was there, and all of a sudden, I just said to myself, because I believe in being a sovereign being, and this is what I believe we all are, but we need to realise that we are sovereign beings that have got ultimate power. We are the source of all the universe, and I tapped into that, and I just said, in my mind, what was communicating supposed to the astral, I put my foot down and said, no, I am not. We are not going to do this. I am a sovereign being, and this connection is going to work, and I am going to talk to him. And then you hear the second interview with Goz, and it's virtually flawless, and it was amazing. And I knew that was from my power within to say, "That's it. You're not interfering. I'm telling you." Boom, and I just put the law down, and it worked.
Yeah. Well, I had a very similar situation. I interviewed him as well, and the same thing happened. On the connection, every time I reconnected to him, they instantly cut him off. I say they. I mean, it could be just the fact that, the energy is just so high, connecting. I don't know.
No, I do think it's an interference from the astral. I do, because the first one I did with Goz is every time he got into subjects of the real Jesus, bang, it stopped.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did the same thing, though. I just intended out loud, that the connection be clear, and I gave it some time, and I went off on a little talk, and then about 15 minutes later, I brought him back on, and we were able to finish the show with some really good information. So, I do want to say that, none of us have all the truth and the whole picture. I mean, we are not completely awake yet. No, we're putting ourselves out here. We're not selling anything. We're just out of our hearts wanting to. We have this drive to put this information out there for people to listen to, and so I certainly hope that you are gaining something from it. And if you have any questions, I'd like to let you know that we are getting towards the end of the show. So please call in now at 646-716-8890, or if you're in the chat room and you have a question. I know that Florida Starseed Awakening asked me where I got the information I read about the maritime law. Honestly, that's a very bad host I am, because I picked that up somewhere and said, oh, I'm just going to read that on the show, and I forgot to write down where I got it from. I read so much material and listen to so many YouTubes.
Cullen Smith's got some good information on that side of things with what you've done. Yeah.
Yeah, I interviewed Cullen on Cosmic Awakening show, and you can find that on the Blog Talk page. I don't know if that's one of them that I have uploaded to, that Greg has uploaded to the N5D YouTube page yet, but I think it might be. So you can check that out. Also, of course, you can find everything on CosmicStarseeds.com at this time. And eventually I will be phasing more of my starseed way of thinking into more of how to exit the matrix. And I do like the word that you came up with, dissolve. And that's how you exit the matrix, is you're going to dissolve the barriers and the things that are keeping you tied down, just by your awareness of it. So listen, this is happening, folks. This is not just something that's coming in the future, that's coming down the pike. We're not going to say, oh yes, by 2025 or by the year 2,900 and whatever the Earth should be on this. No, this is happening now. We're making it happen. We're going to make it happen for our children, for our grandchildren, for any other beings that want to come have this organic Earth experience. And in truth, it's already happened, because the time is part of the illusion, is part of the matrix. Time, it does exist in that it is a created construct, but it is not. And it is somewhat necessary in order to have a physical experience. This is just part of something that is a good thing, fun thing to do. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
I've enjoyed most of my life in having a physical experience. The things that you can do in physicality that you can't do, I've been thinking about that a lot, and I have enjoyed that. So, I completely forgot where I was going with that.
Well, the thing is, Michelle, with this physicality, what we experience, it's just a playground. That's another way I look at it. It's a playground, and if you look at the Matrix and the Earth and the universe from the biggest perspective possible, it is all just a game. What we're playing. It's Source. We are Source. Source is just wanting to experience every possibility in every way, shape, or form, from the most evilest to the most goodest to the most fun, whatever you want to do in every aspect of every planet, on every single galaxy, in all the universe, in all the universes. It's just a game. It's an experience. I mean, I said this to you, I think, a few months ago on the show when I had you on my show, where basically, if you look at it from that sort of perspective, no matter what happens, it's just a game. We'll all go back to Source and everything's fun. So don't worry about it. And if you have that attitude in life, and you use the techniques we're saying, and it just relaxes you, and you see things from that big perspective, and that's all you need to do to dissolve the matrix. There's none of this big ascension where you're suddenly going to snap and all of a sudden you're at paradise Earth. It's just going to dissolve it. And the powers that are holding us in where we are now will not be able to hold us, because the people won't let them no more. There's no spiritual people's going to come down and help us. It's just going to be mankind, womankind going out there and just stopping this oppression on a physical level. That will then stop them being fed off us from the astral. They'll lose all their powers, and we'll have this Earth just as we want it, and just as Gaia wants it. And then I said to my wife that I'd never come back to this Earth again, but I probably will once it's a nice paradise. I'll come back and I'll enjoy it, for what it is, and then I'll just pop back to the other realms at will, because I can then, because I'm not held in the matrix. So I'm looking forward to playing around.
Though. That's before this astral construct was put into place. Our layers of bodies, we're connected to be able to do that, to pop back and forth. You move your consciousness where that you want to be. That's where you'll be. Time on the Earth or whatever, and so that's what was ripped from us. That's why we're in a prison matrix, because we're not able to do that, to bilocate, to travel with our consciousness, which is. It feels like it's almost like having a physical body, because you do have a form. If you want to have a form, you can change your form however you want to. That's the thing, is that there would be no need for medicine or anything, because when you are able to create your reality and where you go and what you do, you can create any form you want. And actually, those in the astral realm are able to do that, and they can create themselves to look like Jesus, or to look like Maitreya, or to look like
your mom and dad,
anybody. So we had that too, and we will get that again. And I don't know if it's going to be in this lifetime. I certainly hope so. And I certainly, when I started studying about it, felt that was true, but I can't promise anything to anybody, because we don't know it all yet. But one thing you have to do is reduce the fear about dying.
Yeah, absolutely.
And reduce the fear about because that takes all their power away. When you are basically beaten down in this system, and you can't pay your bills, and you can't feed yourself, which is, based on money at this time, which hopefully we can change that very soon. But when you can't feed yourself and, or let's just say, you're sadly enough, the energetics of what's happening is causing an emotional turmoil, and you're not able to clear that, and you get some disease in your body, and you're slowly dying. Well, if you could reduce the fear of dying, that first in itself may be enough to heal you. But if you can love yourself and realize who you are and have the awareness of who you are and what's happening, that in itself could heal you.
Yep.
It could give you a second chance to move forward, because your body is all energy. It's not really that physical thing that we are experiencing from our senses. And our eyes and our ears and our taste and our touch tell us what we're experiencing, but it's not real. It's all energy moving at a vibrational frequency. So why not?
It's all a quantum. It's a quantum reality. What we live in. It's all from there's like a sea of every possibility in this where we live. And when you think about things, you create things. You're pulling out of the sea of the quantum, and that's what this reality. And that's why it's not really me sat here looking at my screen talking to you. It's just what my senses are giving me. It's very hard to put into words, isn't it, Michelle?
It is, but it's great. It's a great experience. I mean, what if you were on a spaceship? Like, even they try to tell us these things on movies and shows. But what if you were on a spaceship in the Federation, going around, meeting new civilizations? But man, you've been doing this for so long. And you can't get sick because you've got the doctor on board with all the technology. So, you're bored. Let's go to the holodeck.
Yeah.
Let's get on the holodeck and have a holographic experience, and it seems very real. And really, that's what we were able to do before. I really feel that's true. I don't know. I don't know if it's true, but I feel that it's true. And so, we're moving towards that again, and that is just so exciting to think about. Being free once more, and that's what we want to share with everybody, is the freedom, and it all starts with awareness, reducing your fear, which means the opposite of fear is love. It's the highest frequency that we can have and hold in this reality for now. I mean, there's much more. We just can't experience it here. We have to go somewhere else to experience it. So, all this, forgive yourself. I mean, I forgive myself every time I can't remember something that I lose my track of thought. That's good. That's a good thing. That means I'm existing in the now. I'm not thinking about the future. I'm not thinking about the past. And I'm existing right here in this moment. And sometimes because of that, you go to a certain frequency where you just kind of forget what you were just saying 2 seconds ago. So that's kind of a good thing if you think about it.
It happens to me all the time, that.
Yeah, just you've got to forgive yourself for being duped. Forgive yourself for all kinds of things. And this is the simplest things. The work that people really need to do, though. I mean, I don't know if you've got to work on, like Goz has said, on your inner child. I mean, he's not the only one that says these things. I was trying to make that point earlier. We're not the only ones saying these things. We're just, the more people that get out and talk about this stuff and bring it to awareness is what's going to make the change on this planet. And some people may say, well, this just seems impossible, but it's not. We are tied together with the human consciousness field, and we will make this happen.
Yeah.
It is happening.
It is happening. It is. I mean, when people say, oh, it's out of the realms of possibility, what you're talking about, if they actually realise how narrow that point of view is, our perspective on the actual universe, even this light, false light matrix, what we live in, we only see about 3% of it. 97% of it is out of our perception, and that's just in the matrix. So what's outside the matrix? What's the organic? You know what I mean? So anything's possible. The matrix is very good at putting people in little boxes, saying that can't be true. true because of this reason, that because you believe in that God and this says this. Once you escape all that and you see reality for what it is, then it's easy to escape. I think the Matrix part of it. But I think what we must go back to, I think, on a physical level is people maybe listen to this show. Oh, it's great to have all this information, but if they've got people knocking at their door for money, bailiffs, and all those sorts of negativity parts, you need to empower yourself on that level, then to give you the space and the breathing space to expand on all the rest of the things we've just talked about.
That's true.
I think you need to do that as well. I had to do that, and lots of people I know have had to do that, and because of that, it's helped them to get to where they are now. So, yeah, it's a...
Well, and let's talk about this subject. I mean, why would we even want to stay in this body when everything out there is just so vast and waiting for us? You know, the possibility now that we've got the key is just not to get caught in the recycle program. But you know, there's a really good reason why you need to stay here in this body right now as long as possible. I mean, some people have done. But for other people wanting to leave, desperation, you know, that's the program. The program is to make you not want to be here anymore. Even if you realize what's happening and you just feel a desperate situation, just keep working at yourself. Don't worry about working on anybody else for a while. Just work on yourself. Give yourself time to, you know, that's a funny word, but to give yourself time to work things out, because you will get help in one way or another, you know, whether it be someone in this physical reality or someone on the other side. You will get the help that you need, and it's the more people that we have that are vibrating at the frequency of truth of what's happening and working with the planet and grounding with the planet, the better, the faster it's going to happen for everybody to have, well, I can't say everybody, but for the people that need to move out of this experience. So that's why we need you to stay here. That's why we need you to just simplify everything. I wrote an article that I'm going to be releasing on N5D called why you should unlearn almost everything you know. And I mean, once you get to a certain point, it's almost like, okay, I'm just so confused. What do I do? I mean, I got there at one time, and now in my holistic life coaching, I'm helping people that are at that point. They're just like, there's so many things that are opposite of each other. What's the truth? Yeah, what's the truth? And I said, forget it all. Just forget it all. That's what I had to do for a little while. I mean, for me, it was really, really hard to do, and it was just for a little while. But I stopped writing, I stopped doing anything, and I just sat and centered and grounded and just said, okay, the whole thing is an illusion. Everything you've been taught is a lie. So get over that, and then let's just get on with the work.
Yeah, I think what the problem is with people with that get to that situation is all that information there, and they try to process it. I went through the exact same thing like yourself, and the problem is you try to use your mind, which is the astral, to try and work out what's right and what's wrong. There's this information, there's this. That's all thinking, and that's exactly where you don't want to be. You just want to feel it. You want to feel the information, and if it feels right, but yet your mind's saying to you, oh, that's rubbish, take the notice of your mind and look at it more and feel it more, and that's what I've done. And there's another thing, and all what I wanted to say to people out there is you need to learn to love yourself. You need to look in that mirror every morning, not in a vain way, because I'm overweight, I've got a bald head, and I'm a little small bloke. so to look at me, I don't love the way I look, so to speak. But
who's to say that's not what kings are made out of?
Well,
you know?
Exactly. But I just love myself, and people need to love themselves, because if you can't love yourself, then you can't love other people, because other people are you, so you're loving yourself anyway. And I think it's a really good practice, just look in that mirror in the morning and physically tell yourself. Don't just word the words. Say it. I love you. I love you. And keep doing that. And you'll feel an empowerment from that. You realise that, yeah, I'm a good person. And from that, it's just another facet of what you need to do to sort of raise your vibration and get out of, see everything for what it is. Yeah. I just wanted to say that bit. Sorry if I
Yeah,
ranted.
I mean it's a huge part. I mean, I think we may have left something out, but I think we've really covered, in a nutshell, in an hour and a half, everything that we can give anybody else at this point. I mean, you can go into the details if you want about who it is that's controlling this. The empires that are fighting against each other in the cosmos, as above, so below. You can go into all that, and it's fascinating. It's entertaining. You can go watch Jupiter Ascending, and that will tell you a little bit more about the queen and the princess, of those families that are involved in the control over the planet to get the resources. But it doesn't matter. None of that really even matters, because what matters is that we are coming out of the control, and we are doing it now. It's happening. And we are becoming free, and humanity is going to be free. And if there's anything else that you wanted to bring up, I just want to give you the opportunity to finish out, because I know that we decided we were just going to run with this and talk about one thing that led to another. And did you cover everything on the banking and the birth certificate?
I covered enough. I didn't want to go into too much detail about that, because I don't want to blind people with too much knowledge all at once. All I would say to people is, go out there yourself. Don't believe a word I've told you. Go onto YouTube and just type in birth certificate. Just type in. There's an excellent series called The Banking Mafia, or The Rothschild Banking Mafia. Type that into YouTube, and you'll see all the evidence from all different angles. And if you want to go into it in depth, like I said, and if you do need help, go to that. It's an English website, but the information just as valid as for you in the USA or anywhere else. That's called Escape, or Get Out of Debt Free. Sorry, getoutofdebtfree.org. I'd just like to say that, and then make your own mind up and go into it in depth as what you need. So basically, Michelle, I'm happy what we've said. I think we need to keep it simple for people how to dissolve this matrix, and I think we've gone through that perfectly. It's nothing complicated. It's just knowing the information, being aware of it, and the rest takes care of itself. Gaia's there helping us. She's with us all the way. What more do you need? What more help do you need? We've got the planet looking after us. So
That's it. I mean, when you got the planet on your side, you've got it made.
You have. Absolutely.
So well, thank you. I mean, we can find more information, as both of us post it on your Facebook page, which is
Escape the Prison Matrix.
Okay, and your website is escapetheprisonmatrix.com.
That's right.
And
the YouTube channel is Escape the Matrix, Prison Matrix. Do you see a bit of a pattern here, Michelle? Yeah.
Exactly. I know. Well, as we got into as we meet more people, I mean, here we are across the ocean from each other, right?
Yep.
And we're on the same wavelength, we're on the same page, and as we put ourselves out there, we are able to meet more people that feel that this is their truth, and then we can, we can meet on Facebook. That so I can. I hope that other people follow in our I guess our footsteps, but really in our example, that anybody can do this. I mean, neither one of us we're not PhDs, we're not experts in quantum physics. We're just people. We're just like everybody else. We're no better, we're no worse. And we're doing this. And I'd like to encourage anybody out there, once you find your truth, to share it. Share it on a radio show, share it in articles, share it on Facebook. I know that a lot of people are going to TSU. That's fine. Go to TSU. Share it there. I seem to find what I need right now on Facebook, and I don't really have a lot of time to. I guess Twitter is another place that people are finding things, but I don't tweet yet. I don't really have time to do that. But YouTube is a great place to find information, just like you said, and just keep just hang in there and just keep searching till you find exactly what resonates for you. So thanks for joining me, and be sure and tell Paul.
I will.
that I missed him, and we'll have to do this again sometime. I'll make another show on a Sunday if I have to. We'll make time to bring in and let him, speak his truth, because there's nothing that empowers you more right now besides centering, grounding, loving yourself than actually speaking your truth.
Correct.
And so with that, I'm going to have you stay with me as I announce who I'm bringing on next week. His name is Paul Wesley, and we'll be decoding the matrix with him vibrationally. We're going to talk about energy and seeing the matrix composition for what it is. So until then, I hope everyone can join us, and I thank you so much, Alan, for joining me today, and I hope you have a great evening over there.
Thank you. It's been my absolute pleasure, Michelle. Thanks a lot. Look forward to doing it again.
Okay. Bye now.
Bye-bye.